Welcome back to our show. Today I have a special guest who will be talking to us about a book she has just discovered. Please welcome Payton Newcast. Hi Payton, thank you for coming on our show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Okay, I'm excited to hear about this book. Tell me about it. What's it called?
It is called I Survived the American Revolution by Lauren Tarsh. It's a historical fiction because it could happen in real life, but it was a made-up story. The point of view is third person. I know this because it uses him, it, and they. The setting is mostly in Brooklyn, New York in 1776.
For our viewers, will you please tell us a little about the Revolutionary War?
The Revolutionary War was when America and Britain were going to war because they were governed by Britain and they were making us pay high taxes. In 1776, the Declaration of Independence was signed, and that's when the war began.
Tell me about the characters in the story.
Nate Fox. Nate is a brave and kind boy. We know this because on page 21, it says that when Theo hit the back of Storch's face, Nate took the blame. Storch is Nate's mean uncle. He does not like Nate. We can find this out because on page 21 it says that Storch slapped Nate right across the face. Samuel and James. These two are important because they are a few of Nate's friends he meets in the war. Paul Dibbins. Paul is one of Nate's friends that he made as a child on his dad's ship before he died. They reunite in Brooklyn.
Can you give us a summary of the book?
Nathaniel Fox is an 11-year-old boy who was orphaned and had to live with his rude uncle who treated him more like a slave than a nephew. Storch, his uncle, had two other slaves, Eliza and her son Theo. One day, Theo was swinging his stick around and hit Storch in the back of his head. Nate did not want to let Theo get hurt, so he took the blame. After Storch slapped him, he was about to kill Nate, but Nate used a little of his strength to kick Storch and ran away. He runs off to a ship and goes to Brooklyn, New York. As he is wandering around, he finds one of his dad's old ship workers, Paul Dibbins. He and others in Brooklyn are getting ready for the war. Nathaniel was invited to join them as a helper. Some of the men helped Nathaniel. One was named Samuel. He helped teach Nate how to load and fire a musket. James helped Nate get clothes and food. But one night, James died of smallpox right before their battle. A couple days went by, and they were getting invaded by the British Army, or the Redcoats. Nate got caught in the middle of the invasion. Nate gets attacked by one of the Redcoats, but is saved by a cannon. He hides in one of the red jackets so the British soldiers wouldn't know he was American. He made it back to the fort. This was one of the first battles in the American Revolution. The war lasted for 7 more years. After Nate returned to the fort, he got a letter saying his uncle had died from smallpox, and that all of his uncle's land and slaves were now his. That meant Eliza and Theo could be free. He went back to his uncle's where he would live with Eliza and Theo. They were like his family.
Wow, that sounds like a great read. If you were to change any part of the story, what would it be?
If I were to rewrite one part of the story, it'd be that Nate didn't shoot that one boy at the beginning of the British attack. In the book, Nate is scared and shot a boy about his age and realizes it was someone's son. He felt bad about shooting him, so I would change that he didn't shoot that young boy.
Would you change the ending of the story?
I would change that after he finds out his uncle died, Paul would go with him instead of staying in the war.
If you had to choose any character to be out of the story, who would it be?
I would be Nate because he is kind-hearted and always thinks on the positive side.
That sounds like a great book. I hope our readers check it out, and thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.